Wayfinder may have had one of the absolute worst launches in recent games history. But that doesn't mean that good things didn't come from it. So you can imagine my surprise when I found that this newest update by the name of Echoes is changing the game from the online MMO that it was known as to now an offline single player game where you can invite your friends if you want. There's a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into it. Now, as of the time of recording this, I am not 100% sure what happened with Digital Extremes and Airship Syndicate, but all the heavy lifting is no longer supported. So now peer-to-peer connection is required if you want to play with friends. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. It's just interesting. And I want to preface before we go any further, this is coming from someone who enjoyed playing Wayfinder, but I was not an avid fan of the game. I was not some person that got on and like grinded everything to the gills and got every possible thing you could get in the game and maxed everything out. That is not me. I played just under level 20 and I did really enjoy the time that I played. Now also I want to give a massive shout out to my buddy Dream because he is the one that gifted me Wayfinder. So thank you, my man, I appreciate you. But the servers themselves of Wayfinder was definitely not the strongest. If I remember correctly, on the day of launch, there was like 3 servers in total. And when you have thousands of players wanting to play and then your servers are able to hold like 500 of them, yeah, it wasn't the best look. So I'm interested to see how peer-to-peer connection just between you and your buddies is really gonna work with this game specifically. But thinking about everything that you had unlocked, all of your maxed out characters, all of your everything, materials, all of that gone, and having to start from scratch. For me, I don't mind because I wasn't massively invested in the game already. But for someone who was playing the game and was an avid Wayfinder player, I can see how that might be very frustrating. The next big point in this news update is one price, not microtransactions. Players have more to play than ever, and they're being asked to log in to multiple games to check their daily quests, look at a store rotation, and be drip-fed content. Players today are more apt to outright purchase a game they know is full of content and also respectful of their time. In the Echoes update, we'll be charging one price, $24.99 USD, during early access, increasing upon full release. The thought of one price and no microtransactions sounds good on paper, but that's just it. Things like this change all the time. I'm not doubting the devs by any means, but one price paid entirely, that is it, forever for the next, let's say Wayfinder goes on for another 6 or 7 years. In this day and age? But it's interesting that they're changing the price from the original $39.99 USD that we had to pay in the last early access launch phase of the game, and are now updating it to $24.99, but then that's only for early access, and then they're changing the price again when the game fully launches. So if they're changing the price back up to $39.99, why not just ask $39.99 now? Especially if there's all of this content that's already in the game. So that one's a little bit interesting, and it definitely grabbed my eye when I first saw it, but I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. The next big chunk in this news update is major gameplay changes. The gameplay is not only more refined, some of these changes include all weapons becoming randomized drops with various slots, armor now having stats and being collectible, thousands of cosmetics and housing items available to collect, the removal of the grind to get new characters, eased requirements for awakening characters. This update will also launch with the latest Wayfinder, Grendel, as well as brand new hunts and a new Overlands zone, 3 times the size of our last. That's overflowing with content and points of interest. Now, the fact that all weapons will be randomized drops moving forward is interesting, and with them having various slots, I wonder honestly how many there may be per weapon or per rarity, because maybe a legendary has 3 slots where a uncommon has 1 or 2. But that also has me wondering how much armor stats are going to play into this. Are they going to be more like base stats? Or is each tier and rarity going to massively increase how much the stats of your armor are? Now, I do want to highlight the removing the grind aspect, because that's very interesting to me. Don't get me wrong. I love playing video games, and I love a good, solid game that can actually grab my attention and have me wanting to play and wanting to come back. But that repetitive grind of I just gotta do this, and I gotta log in, and I gotta go here, and I gotta do that every single day or week just to get a little extra percentage, just to fill a little meter, it gets tedious pretty fast. So how much of the grind are they removing? Now, personally, I'm really excited for the new Wayfinder Grendel because they look super awesome, and I'm curious to know what abilities they have. But the most interesting thing in this block of news is the Overlands zone being 3 times the size of their last. And yes, it does say overflowing with content and POIs, but unfortunately a lot of games say that, and then we get open worlds or we get massive, expansive places that we can go to, and then it's like, talk to this person, go grab some coins, bring the coins back to the person, ta-da, quest done. Oh, go over here, fight some goblins. Okay, goblins are dead. And then there you go, done. Hey, go talk to this person and say that you talked to that person. And then after you do that, you complete the quest. Cool. So overflowing with content and POIs, again, sounds great on paper, but how does that translate to gameplay? But now, the most pressing question: when can you actually play the game? Well, right now. Because as of now, there is a soft launch of Wayfinder Echoes happening, and then the game will be going back into early access for $24.99 USD on Steam on June 11th. Now, the changes that are happening on PC will also be happening on PS5, but not until later into the year. But the most interesting part about this block of news is the fact that PlayStation 4 will be discontinued. Now, according to the news, the PlayStation 4 version will be automatically updated to the PlayStation 5 version when this takes place, apparently at no extra cost. But now I ask you, what do you think? Does this all sound too good to be true? Does it sound like this might actually be a great change for the game? Does this actually seem like it could be sustainable like the devs are hoping? Again, why early access being $24.99, but then later in 2024 when it launches, it'll be full price? Again, what will that full price be? Will they be charging $40 like they did? So a lot of this has me super interested, and I'm personally really excited to be playing this. But again, like I said earlier in the video, I was not a die-hard fan of Wayfinder, and many games that have had things that sound good on paper have left me thinking, is this gonna work? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But in the meantime, if you want to see what older Wayfinder was like, if you didn't get to see that originally, click on this video right here. It was tons of fun. Go on. I can't. I'm not going to be able to go anywhere. You have to click on the video. I'm stuck here. You got to go. Go.